In a world that often equates socializing with success and networking with necessity, there exists a unique breed of individuals who find their strength in solitude. These individuals, often referred to as Sigma males, are not broken or antisocial. They are simply built differently. They are the ones who feel drained after social events, frustrated by small talk, and uninterested in forced interactions. Society may tell them that being social is necessary, that networking is key, and that the more people they surround themselves with, the more valuable they are. But deep down, they know that's a lie. They don't need the noise, the fake smiles, or the pointless conversations. They don't crave validation, and they don't rely on social circles to define their worth. They prefer depth over volume, silence over nonsense, and authenticity over performance. People might call them antisocial, distant, or even arrogant, but that's only because they don't understand. The truth is, Sigma males see the world differently. They can spot hidden motives, detect artificial behavior, and see through the shallow games people play. They refuse to waste their time on meaningless social rituals, and that's a strength, not a weakness. Being a Sigma male means knowing your own mind, valuing your energy, and choosing solitude over mindless conformity. It means refusing to shrink yourself just to fit in, and most of all, it means owning who you are without apology. 1. The shallowness of most conversations. Have you ever been stuck in a conversation where words are flowing, but nothing is really being said? Where people talk just to fill the silence, tossing around empty phrases about the weather, what they did last weekend, or whatever celebrity scandal is making headlines. If you're a Sigma male, you know exactly how soul-draining this feels. It's not that you dislike people. You just don't see the point in exchanging words that hold no real weight. Your mind operates differently. While others find comfort in casual chatter, you crave substance. You'd rather sit in silence than force a conversation about something that doesn't matter. And that's not because you're cold or uninterested. It's because you respect your time, your energy, and your intellect. To you, every conversation is an exchange of energy. If the discussion isn't adding value, if it isn't sparking curiosity, challenging perspectives, or at least offering something real, it feels like a slow drain on your mind. You don't want to hear someone list their weekend plans just for the sake of keeping the conversation going. You want depth, insight, ideas that actually make you think. But in a world where most people talk just to avoid silence, this can make you seem distant or unapproachable. Some might assume you're arrogant or uninterested when, in reality, you're just selective, and that's a rare quality. You don't force yourself into mindless conversations out of social obligation. You don't pretend to care about topics that bore you. You don't engage just to be liked. Instead, you reserve your words for what matters. And while that might make you an outsider in a world obsessed with surface-level chatter, it also makes your presence and your words carry far more weight when you do choose to speak. 2. The ability to detect hidden agendas instantly. People rarely talk just to talk. There's almost always something beneath the surface, whether it's a need for validation, a subtle power play, or an attempt to manipulate a situation in their favor. And while most people take words at face value, Sigma males don't. They listen differently. They don't just hear what's being said. They analyze why it's being said. It's a skill that sets them apart. A co-worker might pretend to be friendly, but a Sigma male senses a professional maneuvering behind their words. A friend might ask for advice, but he can feel the unspoken need for approval buried beneath the request. A stranger might strike up a conversation, but he immediately detects whether they're being genuine or simply fishing for attention. It's not magic, it's awareness. Sigma males operate on a different frequency. They pick up on inconsistencies in tone, microexpressions, and even the pauses between words. A forced laugh, a slightly delayed response, a contradiction hidden in someone's phrasing. These aren't random details, they're signals. And Sigma males see them with crystal clarity. That's why they don't engage in social games. The moment they sense manipulation, flattery, or performative behavior, they mentally check out. They have no interest in entertaining fake personas. And they certainly won't waste time in conversations where words are just tools for someone else's hidden motives. But here's what makes this ability so powerful. It protects them, while others get caught in emotional traps, fall for false promises, or allow themselves to be pulled into unnecessary conflicts. Sigma males sidestep all of it. They see the play before it happens. They recognize the unspoken intentions behind people's words, and instead of reacting emotionally, they simply walk away. This isn't cynicism, it's clarity. It's the ability to see through the noise and focus only on what's real. And in a world full of hidden agendas, that's not just rare, it's an advantage. 3. Hypersensitivity to fake behavior. Most people listen to words. Sigma males listen to everything. Tone, pauses, body language, the slight hesitation before someone answers. They notice when a smile doesn't reach the eyes, when laughter is a little too forced, when enthusiasm feels just a bit off. It's not paranoia, it's precision. And the moment they detect phoniness, they mentally check out. Fake behavior is everywhere. People exaggerate interest to be liked, act overly polite to avoid conflict, and pretend to care about things they don't. Sigma males see through it all. That overly enthusiastic coworker, he's not genuinely happy to see you. He's playing office politics. That friend who suddenly starts complimenting you out of nowhere, she probably wants something. The stranger who bombards you with charm, he's working an angle. The problem is, most people either don't notice or choose to ignore these subtle social performances. Sigma males don't have that luxury. Their minds are wired to detect inconsistencies. A slight delay before a response, a mismatched facial expression, an awkward shift in posture. It's enough to tell them everything they need to know, and once they spot it, they lose interest immediately. This is why socializing can be exhausting for them. They can't turn off their ability to read between the lines, and when most interactions feel artificial, being around people becomes draining. They don't want to fake laugh at jokes that aren't funny, pretend to be interested in conversations that bore them, or entertain social masks that everyone else seems comfortable wearing. It's not that Sigma males are antisocial. They just crave something real. If a conversation is forced, they'd rather not have it. If someone is putting on an act, they won't play along. And if a relationship is built on performance instead of honesty, they'll walk away without a second thought. In a world full of actors, Sigma males prefer the rarest thing of all, authenticity. And if they can't find it, they'd rather be alone. 4. The exhaustion of ego contests in social interactions. If you listen closely to most conversations, you'll notice a pattern. People aren't really talking with each other. They're talking at each other. They're waiting for their turn to speak, crafting their next sentence while the other person is still talking, and steering every discussion back to themselves. For Sigma males, this is exhausting. They have no interest in conversations that feel like one-sided performances, where people use words as tools to boost their own egos. They've seen it all before. The guy who casually drops his accomplishments into every conversation. The person who pretends to ask questions just so they can talk about themselves. The social butterfly who collects friends like trophies to feel important. Sigma males recognize these behaviors instantly, and instead of engaging, they silently check out. The problem isn't just arrogance. It's the lack of depth. Conversations should be about exchanging ideas, challenging perspectives, and learning something valuable. But in most social settings, that's not what happens. Instead, people compete for attention, subtly or not so subtly try and prove their worth. It's an endless loop of look at me and listen to my story. And Sigma males simply don't see the point. This is why they're often labeled as quiet or reserved. It's not that they have nothing to say. It's that they refuse to waste energy on conversations that lead nowhere. They don't speak just to fill silence. And they certainly won't play along in an ego contest disguised as small talk. When Sigma males do engage, it's because the conversation means something. They seek discussions that challenge them, intrigue them, or offer new perspective. But the moment they sense that someone is talking just to feed their own sense of importance, they mentally check out. Because to them, there's nothing more meaningless than empty words designed to impress. In a world obsessed with being heard, Sigma males would rather stay silent than participate in the noise. 5. The detestation of forced social expectations. Sigma males don't live by society's unspoken rules. They don't feel the need to show face at events, make appearances just to keep up an image, or force themselves into social situations that drain them. And yet, the world constantly pushes them to do just that. You should come out more. You never join us. It won't be the same without you. These lines are thrown at them as if socializing is an obligation, not a choice. But Sigma males see through it. They know that most invitations aren't about genuine connection. They're about maintaining appearances, avoiding awkwardness, or simply filling up a crowd. And if there's one thing a Sigma won't do, it's show up just because it's expected. They refuse to be guilt-tripped into social gatherings they have no interest in. They won't attend events just to make someone else feel better. They won't engage in pointless small talk just because it's a polite thing to do. And they certainly won't sacrifice their peace just to fit in. For them, every interaction must have a purpose, whether it's meaningful conversation, genuine connection, or personal growth. If an event offers none of these things, they don't see the point in going. While others feel pressure to conform, Sigma males are completely unfazed. They have no fear of missing out because, to them, forced socializing is the real loss, a loss of time, energy, and mental clarity. This mindset confuses people. Society expects everyone to crave connection, to seek validation through group belonging. But Sigma males are different. Their self-worth isn't tied to social circles, and their happiness doesn't depend on being included. So when they turn down an invitation, it's not because they're rude or antisocial. It's because they value their time too much to spend on anything that doesn't truly matter. And in a world desperate for attention and approval, their ability to say no without hesitation is what makes them truly powerful. 6. The independence from external entertainment. Most people crave company to escape boredom. They look for distractions, group outings, parties, casual meetups, anything to keep their minds occupied. They rely on external stimulation, needing constant social engagement to feel entertained and alive. But Sigma males don't operate that way. For a Sigma, fulfillment doesn't come from noisy gatherings or group activities. It comes within. Their minds are their playgrounds, and they never run out of things to explore. Give them a book, a project, or just a quiet space to think, and they'll be content for hours, while others look outward for entertainment. Sigma males dive inward, creating their own world of ideas, strategies, and visions. This is why typical social events don't appeal to them. The idea of standing in a crowded room, pretending to be interested in surface-level conversations, feels like a waste of time. They would rather be building something, learning something, or deepening their knowledge. Their version of fun is different. Sharpening a skill, solving a complex problem, or immersing themselves in something that challenges their intellect. And this is what sets them apart. While most people need a group to feel entertained, Sigma males thrive in solitude. They don't suffer from loneliness because they don't depend on others to fill their time. If anything, forced socializing feels like an interruption, a disruption of their thoughts, their projects, their creativity. This mindset often confuses people. They assume that anyone who prefers to be alone must be sad, antisocial, or missing out. But the truth is, Sigma males don't need social distractions because their minds are always at work. They are thinkers, builders, and creators, self-sufficient in every sense of the word, while the world chases fleeting moments of entertainment. Sigma males are too busy creating their own meaning, and that's what makes them truly untouchable. 7. The unique approach to communication. In a world where people are constantly glued to their phones, sending endless texts, reacting to social media posts, and checking in just to stay connected, Sigma males stand apart. They don't see the point in mindless back-and-forth messages or surface-level interactions. To them, communication isn't about filling silence. It's about substance. If a Sigma reaches out, there's a reason. They won't send WhatsApp texts just for the sake of it or engage in forced conversations to keep appearances. They value direct, intentional communication. Conversations that have weight, purpose, and depth. While others feel the need to check in constantly, Sigma males are comfortable going days, even weeks, without speaking. And when they do, their words actually matter. This approach often confuses people. In a world where quick replies and social media interactions are seen as proof of friendship, Sigma males seem distant. But it's not that they don't care. It's that they refuse to engage in shallow communication. They'd rather have one deep conversation that actually stimulates their mind than exchange 100 meaningless messages that lead nowhere. Social media? Hey, use it sparingly. The constant updates, pointless status checks, and validation-seeking behavior don't interest them. They don't feel the need to prove their existence online or maintain connections just for the sake of it. If a friendship or relationship is real, it doesn't need constant maintenance. It should stand on its own. This mindset makes them difficult to reach for those who expect immediate responses and daily interactions. But for those who truly understand them, their communication style is refreshing. When a Sigma speaks, they mean what they say. When they reach out, it's because they genuinely want to connect, not because they feel obligated to. While the world drowns in endless small talk and empty exchanges, Sigma males prefer something rare, genuine, meaningful communication. And that's what makes their words truly valuable. 8. The thriving in their own mental world. Most people fear silence. They avoid being alone because without distractions, they're left to face their own thoughts, something many would rather escape. But Sigma males thrive in that space. Their minds are not empty void that need to be filled with social noise. They are vast, intricate landscapes where ideas are formed, problems are solved, and self-discovery takes place. A Sigma male's solitude is never lonely. It's where he does his best thinking. While others seek validation and stimulation from the outside world, he is busy exploring the depths of his own mind. He can spend hours dissecting a concept, analyzing a situation, or strategizing his next move. This isn't daydreaming. It's a process of sharpening his understanding of life, people, and himself. This is why meaningless socializing feels like an interruption. While others see gatherings as a way to connect, Sigma males often find them to be nothing more than distractions. Small talk, gossip, and forced conversations pull them away from something far more valuable, their own thoughts. To them, time spent alone is time spent building, whether it's their knowledge, their skills, or their future. People often misinterpret this as antisocial behavior, but that couldn't be further from the truth. Sigmas don't hate people. They just prefer depth over noise. They are not entertained by shallow interactions or fleeting social highs. Instead, they crave something meaningful, something that challenges their intellect and sparks curiosity. This is what makes them different. They don't need constant company to feel engaged with life. Their minds are always engaged, always thinking, always refining, always growing. While the world runs from silence, Sigma males embrace it because they know that within that silence, they find their greatest strength. 9. The refusal to compromise authenticity. In a world where people bend, adjust, and dilute themselves just to be accepted, Sigma males stand firm. They don't care about fitting in, impressing the crowd, or following unwritten social rules. If being social means faking enthusiasm, laughing at unfunny jokes, or pretending to be interested in things they don't respect, they'd rather opt out, and they do so without hesitation. To a Sigma, authenticity is non-negotiable. They don't switch personalities depending on who they're around, nor do they soften their edges to make others comfortable. What you see is what you get, raw, unfiltered, and real. This is precisely why they often struggle with social gatherings. So much of modern interaction is based on performance. People saying what they think others want to hear, acting differently to gain approval, or maintaining relationships out of obligation rather than genuine connection. Sigma males see right through it, and instead of playing along, they choose the one thing most people fear: solitude. This doesn't mean they reject human connection altogether. When a Sigma finds people who respect their authenticity, who don't demand them to conform or act in a certain way, they will engage, and they will do so deeply, but they will never force it. If the choice is between walking alone or losing themselves in the process of belonging, they will always choose themselves. And here's the difference between Sigma males and most others. They don't regret it. While some fear being alone, Sigas own it. They don't see solitude as a punishment, but as freedom, the ability to exist without compromise, to move through life without the weight of false expectations. While the world plays dress-up, constantly shifting masks to fit in, Sigma males remain exactly who they are. No apologies, no pretending, no compromises. 10. The value of substance over presence. For most people, socializing is a habit. They go to events, gatherings, and group outings not because they genuinely want to, but because they feel they should. They fear being alone. So they surround themselves with people, even if the conversations are empty and the connections are superficial. Sigma males don't operate this way. To them, presence without purpose is pointless. A Sigma male won't attend a party just to be seen. He won't sit through a dull conversation just to avoid awkward silence. And he certainly won't force himself into social circles that add no real value to his life. If he's in a room, it's because he chooses to be there, not because he feels obligated. If he engages in a conversation, it's because he finds it stimulating, not because he's trying to pass the time. This is why people often misinterpret Sigas as unsocial or distant. In reality, they simply refuse to engage in interactions that feel forced or meaningless. They don't need to check in with people every day to maintain a connection. They don't need to be part of a group to feel validated. If a relationship is real, it doesn't require constant maintenance. It should thrive on its own, fueled by depth, understanding, and mutual respect. Sigma males prioritize quality over quantity in everything, and socializing is no exception. They would rather have one deep, thought-provoking discussion than 100 forgettable exchanges. They'd rather spend time alone, building their knowledge, refining their skills, or exploring their thoughts, than waste hours in an environment where nothing meaningful happens. While the world treats socializing like a duty, Sigma males treat it like a choice. They don't seek company just to fill silence. They seek substance, and if that's not available, they're perfectly content being alone. 11. The inability to tolerate superficial friendships. Sigma males don't believe in keeping people around just to avoid loneliness. They don't collect friends like trophies or maintain connections out of convenience. If a friendship lacks depth, honesty, and mutual respect, they see no reason to hold on to it. Unlike most, they don't fear walking alone. They fear wasting time on empty relationships. For a Sigma, a real friendship is built on something meaningful. It's not about constant check-ins or forced interactions. It's about a connection that holds weight, even in silence. They don't need daily conversations or validation from a crowd to feel secure in a relationship. What they do need is authenticity. If someone only reaches out when they need something, engages in gossip, or avoids real conversations, the Sigma male will notice, and he won't stick around. This is why Sigas tend to have very few close friends, if any. They aren't interested in friendships that exist just to pass the time or maintain appearances. They won't pretend to care about people who wouldn't do the same for them. They won't engage in one-sided relationships where they're the only ones making an effort. If the bond isn't mutual, if the understanding isn't deep, they'd rather be alone. Some might call this cold, but for Sigma males, it's just logic. Why invest time and energy in something that doesn't enrich your life? Why keep people around who drain you instead of elevating you? They'd rather pour their energy into personal growth, meaningful pursuits, or the rare friendships that actually matter. While the world clings to shallow connections out of habit, Sigma males do something most people don't have the courage to do. They walk away. And in doing so, they protect their peace, their time, and their authenticity. Conclusion: the power of walking your own path. If you ever felt drained by forced conversations, irritated by fake social rituals, or simply uninterested in the small talk that others seem to enjoy, you're not broken. You're just built differently. The world thrives on noise, but you find strength in silence. While others seek validation through social circles, you find fulfillment in your own company. That's not a weakness. It's an advantage. Being a Sigma male means refusing to waste your time on shallow interactions and meaningless social games. It means valuing depth over presence, authenticity over appearances, and solitude over forced connections. It's about understanding that not all relationships are worth keeping, and that time spent alone is never wasted when you're building something real, whether it's your mind, your craft, or your future. Society might try to tell you that you need to be more social, more outgoing, more involved. But let's be honest, most people are just afraid to be alone. They fear silence because it forces them to confront themselves. You thrive in it. You don't need a crowd to feel complete. You don't chase approval or seek distractions. You walk your own path at your own pace without asking permission. So if you've ever wondered why socializing feels exhausting, why surface-level friendships don't satisfy you, or why you'd rather be alone in a room full of empty words, it's because you're wired for something greater. You're not here to fit in. You're here to rise above. Embrace it, own it, and never apologize for being exactly who you are. Do you resonate with the ideas I shared in this video? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you're interested in more content about Sigma males, explore the other videos on this channel. Thanks for watching.